All right, let's start today like yesterday, and let's consider the following problem. If there are 68 pebbles total in this picture, how many pebbles are inside one brown paper bag if each bag has an equal number of pebbles? We currently see that there are 4 pebbles outside the bag, meaning the remaining 64 pebbles must be inside these 4 bags. There are 4 outside. The remaining 64 must be inside. Thus, it tells us there is an equal number in each bag. So we take 64 and divide by 4, and we get 64 divided by 4, or 16 pebbles in each bag, altogether giving 68. As an equation, each bag would represent x. So we have 4x plus the 4 pebbles outside the bag is equal to 68. The focus of today's lesson will be in solving these type of problems. The topic of today's lesson is solving two-step equations. Let's take a look at our first example. Example 1. 5x plus 20 is equal to 35. Our objective here, just like yesterday, is to isolate the variable x. Now, with solving equations, we do the opposite of when we simplify expressions. When simplifying numeric expressions, we follow PEMDAS, or our order of operations. Parentheses, followed by exponents, followed by multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction. When solving an equation, we work this process in reverse. So the first thing we ask ourselves is, does our problem have any addition or subtraction on the same side of the equation as the equal sign? If we look over here, we see that next to the 5x is a plus 20. So we want to remove the plus 20 from both sides of the equal sign. The opposite of adding 20 is subtracting 20. So we will do this on both sides. On the left-hand side, we have 20 and negative 20, which makes 0. On the right-hand side, we have 35 minus 20, or 15. Bringing down the 5x, we get 5x is equal to 15. The next thing we ask ourselves is there any multiplication or division? And there is. When I look at this equation, I see that 5 is being multiplied to x. Remember, when a number is next to a letter, it's multiplication. So this reads as 5 times x is 15. In order to isolate the variable x, I must get rid of the times 5. The opposite of multiplying both sides of the equation by 5 is dividing. So I will divide both sides of the equation by 5. On the left-hand side, 5 divided by 5 is 1, or 1x, or just x. And on the right-hand side, we have 15 divided by 5, or 3. So we get x is equal to 3. We could easily verify that this answer works by simply replacing the 3 back into the original equation and testing it. 5 times 3 is 15, and 15 plus 20 is 35. So it checks out. Now it's your turn to try. Solve for x, and then check your answer. Pause the video, give it a try. Check in with a neighbor or with the teacher. All right, example 2. 16 is equal to 8 minus 2x. Now, once again, we want to reverse our order of operations. And our objective is to get the x by itself. Note, this time, x is on the right side of the equation. So the first thing is we ask, is there any addition or subtraction? Yes, on this side of the equation, we see an 8. Now, because the 8 does not have a sign in front of it, it is automatically assumed to be a plus 8. So we want to remove the positive 8 from the right-hand side of the equation. The opposite of adding 8 is to subtract 8 from both sides of the equation. So, the right-hand side, 8 minus 8, becomes 0. And on the left-hand side, we have 16 minus 8, or 8. One common mistake with this type of problem is to forget to bring down the sign when you drop down the 2x. So we have here 16 minus 8 is 8, and bring down the negative 2x. Now we ask ourselves, is there any multiplication or division with the x? And there is. We see here that negative 2 is being multiplied to x. The opposite of multiplying by negative 2 is to divide by negative 2. So we divide both sides of this equation by negative 2. On the right-hand side, we have negative 2 divided by negative 2, or 1. 1 times x is just x. And on the left-hand side, we have 8 divided by negative 2, or negative 4. So we get that negative 4 is equal to x, or x is equal to negative 4. Once again, we can check our answer by simply replacing the negative 4 for x. We have 8 minus a negative 2 times a negative 4. A negative times a negative is a positive, so we get 8 minus a negative 8, or 8 plus 8, which is 16, and it checks out. Now it's your turn to try again. Solve for x, and then check your answer. The equation is 25 is equal to 15 minus 5x. Pause the video, give it a try. Check in with a neighbor or the teacher. All right, example 3. X divided by 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. Once again, we're going to follow our reverse order of operations. So start by asking yourself, is there any addition or subtraction on the same side of the equation as our variable x? And there is. We see a plus 3. The opposite of adding 3 is to subtract 3 from both sides. So we will subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. We're left with, on the left-hand side, x divided by 2, and on the right-hand side, 5 minus 3 is 2. Then we ask ourselves, is there any multiplication or division? And yes, there is. On the left-hand side, we see that x is being divided by 2. The opposite of dividing by 2 is to multiply both sides of this equation by 2. On the left-hand side, we have a times 2 and a divide by 2, meaning we have 2 divided by 2, or 1. 1 times x is just x, so they cancel. And on the right-hand side, we have 2 times 2, or 4. Let's go ahead and verify. We're going to replace x with 4, so we have 4 divided by 2 is 3, or plus 3 is 5. 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 2 plus 3 is in fact 5. This checks out. Go ahead and give it a try. Solve the equation, then check your answer. X divided by 4 plus 2 equals 7. Pause the video, give it a try, check in with a neighbor or with the teacher.